This is one of the most recommended healthy meals. High fiber, plant-based, gut-friendly. So, why does it make people worse? Same ingredients and same recipe as others, but the response is different for you. This isn't about eating badly. This happens in kitchens trying to do the right thing. Health isn't built on perfect ingredients. It's shaped by what you do with them again and again. I'm Gina, and this is the lens behind Vital Cook. Everyday cooking that actually works in real life. We always think whenever we eat something healthy, we should feel good. But that's not always the case. There are some people who can eat healthy and still be in a lot of trouble. That small moment shows up across millions of people living with IBS. This is the kind of meal that's considered good for your gut. And for many people, it is. But for some, unfortunately, it leads to some discomfort every time. Mostly people with sensitive guts, particularly IBS, may see issues with many of these healthy kind of foods. It mainly depends upon the speed with which food is fermented in the gut, the amount of gas produced, the sensitivity of the gut, and how much cooking has transformed the food. The problem isn't these foods, it's how fast they are processed inside you. These foods contain fermentable carbohydrates, often called FODMAPs. Think of them like fuel for gut bacteria. In small amounts, they burn slowly, but in larger or combined amounts, they ferment quickly, like shaking a fizzy drink before opening it. So, why does the same food affect people so differently? It comes down to your gut microbiome, the trillions of bacteria living in your gut. The type and balance of these bacteria determine how quickly food is fermented and how much gas is produced. That's why the same meal can feel completely different for one person to another. So when you reduce FODMAPs, you are not fixing digestion. You are reducing the fuel that your gut bacteria ferment rapidly. And over time, supporting a more balanced gut microbiome can make that fermentation more stable. So your responses become more predictable. And that's exactly what the FODMAP approach helps you do, understand your system instead of guessing. This isn't guesswork, it's a structured process. Step 1. You reduce high FODMAP foods for a short period, usually 2 to 6 weeks to see if symptoms improve. Then you reintroduce foods, one at a time, gradually increasing portions, and see what your gut reacts to. Finally, you personalize your diet, keeping foods you can tolerate and limiting what triggers symptoms. And this is where cooking becomes powerful, because small changes here change everything that happens next. Now, this pattern is specific to IBS, where the gut is sensitive but not structurally damaged. Conditions like Crohn's disease are different. There, the gut lining is inflamed, and food is not the primary driver. This is why the same meal can behave differently depending on what's happening inside the body. For IBS, this FODMAP pattern becomes useful. The FODMAP approach is not about cutting foods forever. It's a structured way to reduce the fermentation load temporarily, identify the personal triggers, and reintroduce foods with control. Outside of cooking, 3 shifts make this work in real life. First, reduce stacking. Avoid multiple high FODMAP foods in one meal. Secondly, watch your portions. Even safe foods can trigger symptoms in larger amounts. And last, space your meals out. Give your gut time to process the food before adding more load in the next meal. So now you can see the pattern. It's not the food alone. It's about how much fermentable food reaches your gut and how fast that food is processed. When fermentation is too fast, gas builds faster than your body can handle. Everyone produces gas, that's normal, but in IBS, it's like inflating a balloon too quickly. Spacing meals and reducing stacking slows that pressure buildup. And pressure alone isn't the whole story. In IBS, the gut becomes more sensitive to the same signals others barely notice. The signal doesn't change, but how loud it feels does. That is why even normal meals can feel overwhelming. Ultra-convenience cooking skips steps that naturally reduce fermentable load. Soaking is like rinsing away part of the fuel before it reaches your gut bacteria. You can keep flavor by infusing oil instead of using whole garlic. Cook vegetables softer to reduce mechanical stress. avoids taking multiple high FODMAP foods, and then the same ingredient starts to behave differently. So the goal isn't elimination, it's control. Not removing healthy foods, you are simply changing how your gut experiences them. Now, if that feels doable and you think you can manage your symptoms, hit that like and tell us in the comments what are you struggling with most. We'll talk about that next. If symptoms keep repeating, it's not random. It's a pattern your cooking is reinforcing. If this helped you to see your meals differently, stay with Battle Cook. Drop it in the comment. What food triggers you most? And we will break that pattern next.